Hey guys, in this video we're going to be talking about the importance of perseverance, how to overcome fear, and how to stop worrying about what people think of you. And we're here with my high school English teacher, Mr. Venables. So first question is, what is the importance and how can we acknowledge the importance of motivating and going forward and achieving our goals?
What is the importance of achieving your goals? You have to have goals in life. I think nothing gets done otherwise. And this is how you progress. This is how you get what you want out of life. It's the attitude of an adult, essentially. You're not waiting for someone else to just do things for you. The most unhappy people I know in my life are those who they're waiting for someone else to give them what they want, but unfortunately, you've got to go out there and grab it yourself. But actually, that's a good thing. It's taking control of your own life and getting what you really want out of it. And sometimes, on the journey, you discover that you have different priorities, which is sometimes what it's really all about. When you were a little kid, you probably thought about being something, I don't know, like a fireman. I know that's a stereotype, but as you learn more about things, like I used to want to make video games. I loved video games. Mortal Kombat, I knew I was going to continue that franchise, but I'm not good with computers. I use this Mac, and I'm not good with math. I can't program. I can't write code. I can't even do kung fu, so how am I going to do Mortal Kombat? But anyway, but it's important to have those goals. You have to have clear expectations. Otherwise, you're just kind of drifting along. And if you're just drifting along, you're headed towards someday, and really nothing happens. In the end, you're at the whim of what everyone else wants you to do for them instead of what you want for yourself and your family.
And I express it a lot. I talk about it a lot, doing things for yourself. And with that being said, I really want them to know the correct way to choose their goals. What I mean by that is, do you choose your goals because you want to do them, or because someone's telling you to do something, because it worked out for them, or because they want to see you succeed in an area that they didn't get to succeed in? What's the best way to set a goal and achieve a goal?
Well, I always love to encourage my students, but as I think I've always told you, my advice is free, so take it for what it's worth. My experiences aren't your experiences. And I think I do see that a lot of the time. Sometimes if I have a student that wants to go into a career that's highly competitive and has a high failure rate, like say they want to become like a movie star or something like that. A lot of times parents don't want to see their kid go down that road because it's very hard to find success. But so a lot of times they want them to be protected, which is understandable. But I don't know. I think you've got to go for what you want, but you've got to be realistic too. You got to know your limitations. I wanted to go into video games and stuff when I was a little kid because I loved playing them, but I didn't know anything about writing code or developing a game. The same thing. I had a student. He loved anime and so forth, and he wanted to build robots like in the cartoons, but he never joined the robotics club or anything like that, and so he never found out what the real thing was. I suppose it's like I don't know. I suppose it's like maybe like people who watch sports and think they can become pro players, but they don't necessarily ever really play all the games that they watch on TV. I don't know if that example makes sense, but I think you really have to go for what you want. At least that's been my experience. But again, this is my experience, not yours. I guess the reason why is I've met people in my life who never got the chance to do what they wanted to do for whatever reason. My grandfather, he really wanted to go to art school, and I don't know if he would have been very successful as an artist or not, but he never got the chance to find out. My great grandfather, his dad, made him go to work in the oil fields, and this is before World War I, essentially, and so yeah, I'm old, um, but but he did that because I mean he didn't graduate the 8th grade. He made him go to work, and because he had to support the family, he had a ton of siblings. He was the eldest, but he worked really hard, and he made sure that they got to finish high school and go to college if they wanted to. But it always kind of, I think, kind of crippled him emotionally because he felt like he missed his chance. He never really got his moment to find out. I mean, the two scariest words for me, anyway, are in the English language are "what if." I think you'll always wonder if you don't take your chance. I mean, if I always dreamed about moving to Southern California. I saw this place in the movies, and I don't know, it just seemed like the center of the earth. And because I grew up in NorCal, and it wasn't that far away, but it's kind of like a different country up there. If you've ever been there, I mean, San Francisco totally different than LA. But I'm not saying one's better than the other, of course, but they're just different. But I always wanted to move down here, but you know, it's funny because you don't always. Making a move can be tough sometimes. I had to leave my family, most of my friends, actually all my friends, what am I talking about? But if I didn't, I don't think I would have gone into teaching. I don't think I would have met you, and I don't think I'd be talking with you guys too. So anyway, but I think I think if I hadn't done that, I think I would always wonder, and I think I'd be a little disappointed. So I think you got to try, and if you fail, at least you found out, right? I mean, everyone fails. There's nothing to be embarrassed about, I don't think. Well, depends, I suppose.
So what do you think about failing, actually? I mean, when I think about failing, I think if you're failing, you're in a position where you're growing, because if you're not failing, you're either doing something wrong or you're not doing anything at all. And what I've noticed is that when I fail, I grow because I learn from my mistakes. Mm-hmm. Although I don't believe learning from your mistakes is the best thing, because you'll learn how to make the same exact mistake all over again. But I do acknowledge and I analyze where I went wrong, and I get that information, I try something new, and if I fail at that again, I analyze and I move forward. So what do you think about failure? Is it a good thing?
I think it can be, if you learn something from it. If you don't learn anything from it, then I question its value. I know they say that failure is really good. You learn a lot from it. I think you can learn from success, though, too. If you find out what works, obviously you want to try to do that or replicate that in some way. But I think there's one thing worse than a loser. Because it's okay, you fail. You always fail. You're a loser. But you're eventually going to succeed. Eventually. It's like I can't play basketball that well. But I know if I keep trying to, make the basket, eventually it will happen. It might take a long time, but being a loser isn't as bad as being a quitter, because a quitter will never win. A loser eventually does win. At least that's my philosophy on it. I think you can learn a lot from failure. Again, you got to be analyzing it, like you said, though. What didn't work out? Why? And I mean, without a specific example, I don't know if I could go deeper into this, but you can't be afraid to try, because the minute you become petrified from fear to try anything, that's the moment you start quitting, and you'll never get what you want. I mean, have you ever met a quitter that was happy?
No, I haven't.
Of course not. I mean, they're cynical, they're bitter, they make fun of everybody else, they ridicule people, they don't want to see anyone else win because it reminds them that they've given up. And again, I mean, it's people will try to. People sometimes are, quitters especially, are very afraid of seeing you succeed, because it brings them down. I don't know. I think you need to analyze your mistakes in life and proceed forward. If you got a dream, you got to go for it. If you don't, you're going to be stuck doing something you don't enjoy. And maybe your dream won't come true. Maybe you'll find a new one. Maybe you'll find something that's more appropriate, that's more to your liking. I used to work in travel and tourism before I became a teacher, and it was a lot of fun when I was young. I got free airline tickets, trips, hotel stays, got to go all over the world, and it was pretty cool. But it wasn't all wine and roses, as they say, and it was a sales job. It was very competitive, and I found that when I did go on vacation, I felt like I was still working, because I was always thinking about, like, how can I sell this and so forth. So it wasn't very, I couldn't relax, and as fun as it was, and as many of the opportunities that it presented to me that I enjoyed, I think that I don't know, just over time it just wasn't right anymore, and so I had to try something else, and well, here we're talking now. So
that road that we take towards our goals always has other options, correct? Like, we go straight to our goal that we think we got to do that, and then down the road we start noticing, oh, we can go left and try this and try that, and it's all choices, right? It's all choices on what feels best, you know.
Well, going back to my own experience in travel, I found the part of my job that I loved the most was not making the big sale, was not even going on the free trips. My favorite part was, I mean, that stuff was great too, don't get me wrong, but my favorite part was actually training new employees at the company I worked at, and they always made me do that because I don't know, I guess I did it well. I guess that kind of got the idea going. Maybe I should go into teaching instead. It's really fun to see someone else succeed, at least for me. And I don't know, it reminds me of myself, like when I was trying to find my way, I guess. And I don't know, I'm much happier now, I think. But so I don't consider my time in travel a waste of time, but it helped me find this. I guess I always thought about teaching. I think anyone that's gone through school always thought about, hey, if I was the teacher, how would I do this lesson? At some point, in some class, I'm sure you thought that.
Of course, yes.
So I'd always thought about it to some degree, but I think if I hadn't gone down that road, I don't think I would have found this. But who knows? Life is complicated. Again, you just got to find something that makes you happy, because you don't know what's going to make you happy. You can guess what's going to make you happy, but maybe not. I mean, the only way you're going to discover is to try. So keep trying. Don't get discouraged by failure. Keep it up. I mean, if you keep failing at something, you really got to assess what is messing this up. I mean, is it something that I can change? Is it something I can't change? Is what it comes down to. And how do you proceed from there?
So it's all about finding a way to push through and keep on going forward, right?
Well, yeah. But I think part of that is discovery itself, in the end. But yeah, you've got to push through. I mean, not blindly pushing through. You got to be aware of what's going on. I think there are a lot of people out there that can help you get to where you want, but no one can really do it for you. People can advise you. People can give you opportunities. I mean, I got this particular job because I knew someone who worked here, and they told me about what a great school it was, and the kids and everything, and I wouldn't have gotten this opportunity if I hadn't talked to that friend, or if I hadn't met that person. I mean, it's a pretty small school, Yeah. I mean, I'd never heard of this place before, but maybe someday, who knows? But you do have to push forward, absolutely. The minute you start giving up, the minute you start giving up, you start quitting. That's just defeat. That's well, as I said, I've never met a quitter that was happy. So
me neither.
No, but
something I've also noticed is that when people want to give up, when they're on the verge of giving up, is that they're so close to success and getting exactly what they want, but something just makes them stop. Because maybe they're afraid of success, maybe they're afraid of the outcome, maybe they're afraid they're gonna change. And what do you think about that? Is that true from your personal experiences? Do people quit before they succeed?
Sometimes they do. Yeah. No, I've had students drop out months away from graduation, for dumb reasons. Sorry to describe it that way, but I had a student who quit school simply because his girlfriend of a few months dumped him, and he didn't want to see her, and he didn't transfer. He actually just straight up quit. He was 18. He didn't need anyone's permission. I don't know if he went back to school or not, but that always kind of sat badly with me, I guess. I felt really... I tried to talk him out of it, but well... Anyway, I'll move on. Otherwise, I'm going to probably start naming names, and I don't want to do that.
It's okay.
So, no, but I think sometimes people are afraid of success, too. What if you actually do get everything you want? I mean, say you want to be president. Might be kind of cool, but it's a lot of responsibility too. Sometimes people do self-destruct, unfortunately. Maybe that's because their dreams have changed. Maybe they discovered that this isn't really what I want. I've had friends that married the wrong person simply because they never broke up. I don't know, maybe they were afraid of being alone, or they just got comfortable or something, but it doesn't last in the long run. I did have a friend who got married, and because he thought he was supposed to, I guess, and just ended in divorce in the end, which was too bad. Neither of them were happy.
Okay.
I think she married him also because she didn't know anything else or something, but. People can self-destruct sometimes, though I guess that's a little bit. I guess that's a kind of a different example. I don't know. I mean, like, what sort of? I'm sure you've seen your own friends do that. I mean, I see students do this all the time, but yeah. I don't know what stories you got. I guess I feel like I'm talking forever. So
I was in football,
Yeah.
and I had a friend who was a great football player, probably one of my best friends, and he was so close to making the team. You know, we were 1 week away from getting our helmets or pads. He decides, I don't want to do it. And I was wondering, just why don't you want to do it? He said, I just don't know. It doesn't feel right. And I respected that. Until this day that I think about it, I think he could have been great at this sport. And now that I know that people quit before they succeed, it's probably because he didn't want to be the spotlight. He didn't want to bring attention to him in that manner, or he just wasn't confident enough in his abilities.
yeah.
So, I mean, I think a lot of people just tend to just give up for no apparent reason, like you said. They'll find any excuse, that's what I believe it is, an excuse to not succeed.
Yeah, no, I have students all the time. They get into prestigious colleges. They're all set to go, and but they chicken out at the last minute. And I know that sometimes they got pressure at home. I know that sometimes they don't have the whole thing paid for, but I've heard some pretty bad excuses before. People do that. I don't know why. I guess maybe that's fear of failure again. I mean, maybe your dream is to be a doctor or something like that. Maybe you go through med school, and but maybe that's not necessarily the end. There's the next part to that. Maybe, I mean, I gotta say, when I first got into teaching, it was pretty scary, because when that bell rings, those doors close. It's just me and the kids, and I gotta say, it's really scary when you're a new teacher. You really don't want to fail. No one goes into this thinking, yeah, I'm gonna be that mediocre teacher. He's gonna go home at 3 o'clock, and doesn't even think about it all summer. No one goes into this profession thinking that. Anyone who doesn't make it. It never gets the job anyway. And maybe you become that at some point because you give up, you quit trying. But I gotta say, I was really scared when I first started this, because I didn't want to be that crappy teacher that let their students down. And I'm still afraid of that. Actually, I think that fear keeps me kind of sharp. It keeps me here later working on stuff. I'm working on a lesson right now I came up with 10 years ago, but I'm still making it better each time. A little bit. It's not always perfect, but then again, it's about that journey of discovery, I think, in the end. I think I'll probably figure it out about the time I'm ready to retire. I'll be like, okay, time to pass it along. I don't know. So
It's probably
Yeah.
it'll be the best lesson that actually fixes the school system, because I think the school system to some extent is corrupted, and it hasn't
Sure.
changed for years. So I think maybe your lesson could be the one that actually helps it.
maybe a little bit.
Let's hope
I'm just one person, I guess. I don't know.
one person can make a big change.
Yeah.
So another question I
sure.
had was, what is fear to people? Because I know you said people are afraid to fail, and I wonder, why are they afraid to fail? Are they afraid to grow? And what is fear in someone's life? Is it an indicator to move forward and use that fear as an energy or a fuel source to zoom past their goals and reach the stars? Or is it a roadblock that tells them you can't go past this?
Well, I think biochemically, it's like a warning to you that you could get hurt. But that kind of leads into something else, which is courage. Courage is not the absence of fear; it's the ability to act in spite of it. I mean, I think that fear can propel you forward. Sometimes it lets you know that you're in the wrong situation and you need to get out of it. I mean, it's.
But I tell
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. Where are you going with this?
Well,
So, yeah.
what I tell people is this: fear is a survival instinct, like you said, right?
Yeah.
So why are we so caught up trying to avoid the survival instinct when in this society we have to survive and we have to push through? So why is it that we avoid fear? In any scenario, if you're walking down an alley and you get scared, obviously something's telling you, get out of there. If you're trying to reach a goal, if you're trying to do public speaking or be the best basketball player, you're having your first concert and you're scared, what makes you think that you gotta stop? It's telling you, go and do it. Go overcome it, because once you overcome every fear that there is or that stops you, in the end, what are you gonna be afraid of?
Anything worth anything in life is comes with risk. I think that's also the thing with fear is it does let you know that. I mean, walking down a dark alley, when you think you might get like robbed or something is probably a little bit different. But yeah, fear of being laughed at. So you're doing public speaking. It is sort of a signal that this is actually worthwhile. Maybe the risks are you could be embarrassed, lose social standing, make yourself look like an idiot or something like that. But at the same time, though, the rewards are great. I mean, in that situation, you could enrich other people's lives. You can make them see the issue in a different light. You could get them to all laugh. I think it just lets you know that there's risk involved, but I think you have to think about, is it really, what's the reward here? Is it worth the payoff? I find that a lot of times I try to talk to my students who are quitters, who quit, they don't do anything, and they insulate themselves from disappointment because they're afraid. And I try to explain this to them, but they always try to shoot it down to some degree. They tell me it's not worth the reward in the end. And maybe to them it isn't. Maybe that's how they got where they were. But again, I'm not so sure, because they don't seem very happy again, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I think you got to know, is this really dangerous, what I'm doing? Could I die? Something. But at the same time, is it... I went bungee jumping off the world's tallest bungee jump, 200 meters down. That's farther than 2 football fields. It was off this bridge in South Africa. At least it was the tallest at the time. This was about 20 years ago. And it was scary as hell. I mean, like, I screamed. Okay, I got it on tape somewhere. Maybe I'll show it to you sometime. But,
Yeah, of course, that'd be
but
great.
I mean, it's... everything in your body is telling you not to do it, but somehow I still jumped off that. It took a couple tries, but no one pushed me. I actually did jump over it, and the minute I did that, it was insane. See, the tough thing about bungee jumping. Have you been bungee?
I haven't.
Okay.
I hate heights.
I've never been skydiving, but I've had friends that have done that. But they say after about 10 seconds, you reach terminal velocity, and it just kind of feels like there's all this air around you, like you're flying or something. But bungee jumping, you're constantly changing speed. Like, and this was like on a bridge, so I jumped off, and the cable was hooked to the back side of it. So I kept going up and down and swinging back and forth, so it was really disorienting. But I got to tell you, that was one of the coolest things I ever did in my life. I'll never forget that. It was just so thrilling, and I felt really, I don't know, awesome afterwards. I was like, let's do it again or something, and they're like, that'll be another like 200 grand, and I'm like, okay, no, never mind. So I didn't have any more money at the time, but I knew I was safe. But it was still scary, but it was worth it. Now, in terms of career, life, yeah, you got to take those chances, I think. Even if they're scary. If they aren't scary, they're probably not worth doing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, nothing easy in life has any value, right? If everything was easy, anybody would be doing it.
I saw this episode of The Twilight Zone. You've seen The Twilight Zone?
I have.
Okay. There's this episode where this guy, he thinks he's in heaven because he's getting everything he wants, but he gets bored really fast. And he finds out he's actually in hell, and because there's no challenge,
Wow.
is what it comes down to, and so nothing's worth anything, and he's he figures out he's in hell at the end, and he's stuck there for eternity, getting always what he wants. There's no value in it because you don't earn it, I guess. I think that's where real confidence comes from. I think so often in the media, we see the success story, like, this person grew up in a small town, and now they're a superstar in whatever field that they're in. And you don't see the hard work that got them there. And because that's boring. That's not something you can show in like a quick clip on TV. And I think that sometimes confuses people. Sometimes people think that it's just going to happen, and it doesn't. It takes luck sometimes, but it does take that drive. I don't know anyone who got to be really successful and was just handed it to them. I mean, we don't. Okay, maybe some people are born king or queen, but they can't hang on to it for long if they're not any good at it. In the end, that's how revolutions have happened and so forth in the past. But anyway, I think that you need to emulate that drive. If you don't have that, you will not be successful, and you won't be happy, I don't think, in the end. So
I feel like a lot of people are missing that drive. Like almost 80% of the kids in this school are missing that drive. So many are just late to class.
Yeah.
And they don't do their work. And they just think, I don't need this. So what would you tell them? Or what's something that you can just express and to give to them to just get them to do their best, to actually go and do something they don't want to do?
Gosh, I'm still trying to figure that out. I mean, it's one thing to lecture them like this and tell them. I think you have to create opportunities, though, at least from my perspective or my position as a teacher. You have to create opportunities where they can experience some level of success, something that's low risk they can try, and maybe that'll encourage them to maybe try a little bit harder next time. It's like video games. You play video games too?
Nah, not so much.
Okay,
but yeah,
you have, yeah, okay. One thing that any game you play, say we're talking Mortal Kombat again or something, the first opponent you fight in that is the easiest one.
That's true.
The next one's a slightly harder. And video games, people who make video games, they're really good at progressively getting you to be better at whatever skill that game demands. And it's very rewarding, when you each step of the way. This is why games can be very addictive.
That's true.
At the same time. Terrible games, bad video games, the games that everyone hates, and you see people on YouTube like cussing and or an angry video game nerd or any of those guys. Yeah, those are usually bad games that don't really do that. So, incidentally, a lot of those students that you talk about that have no goals, that are protecting themselves by being quitters, essentially. They tend to be gamers, though, too. So somewhere along the line they did try. Now, gaming is much more social than it used to be for me. Like, as social as it got is like maybe you had a friend over, you had two controllers that plugged into the system. But now it's all online, so it's a whole new community. But somewhere along the way, they did take a risk. I don't know. How does that translate into academics? I don't know. I think this stuff's a little more risky than say playing a game online or something. But still, I don't know. I think I just try to create opportunities where they can experience some success and maybe want to try a little bit harder next time. It doesn't always work though. But I don't know. What do you think, man? You got the student perspective. I'm an old man, so.
Well, what I've noticed is that people do somehow, start that game, and they do take that risk. But a lot of people tend to take that risk not through their own life, but from what they see from their parents. Most of them,
The examples.
yeah, they never take a risk. They just think, oh, well, they failed, so why would I try? And they don't stop to think that you're on this earth and you're gonna leave a legacy because you have a reason to. You have a reason to be here. Because there's what, 2 billion, 20 billion chances to one that you're gonna be born a human.
You're asking the wrong teacher. I don't know. I know it's high, but how do you even figure that out? I don't know.
No.
But okay.
Well, point is, they were the ones that were born. Out of all those opportunities, it was them. So
Yeah,
they,
it's a
they
real
have
privilege
yeah,
to
they-
be alive. Yeah.
they have a reason to be here, and they don't decide to plant the seed, water it, and watch it grow. They just decide the seed's there, so I'm okay. And little do they know that is if they leave the seed there, it's gonna go bad, and that seed, it's life. And then life's gonna take over, and it's gonna break everybody down, and everybody that they love, and they themselves, if they're not broken already, are gonna break down because they don't ever take risks to make themselves stronger.
It's an interesting metaphor. I like it. Yeah, I don't know what the solution is. I think that's probably the biggest part of my job because I found like when I have students that try everything, that's the hardest part of my job is getting them to try. This lesson that I'm working on, it's good. Most of the students are enjoying it right now. I'm making it better. Today was a really good day. But it has a lot to do with their mindset. I know one of the things we talk about here at this school is growth mindset versus fixed mindset. And a lot of those students I have in that class, they have a growth mindset. They've experienced success and they always try. But I mean, if I can't get the student to, even bring a pencil to class, it's really tough. Yeah, it's really sad. I think you're right. Sometimes they see their parents fail, and they take that as a sign that, because maybe they see them fail really badly too, and it's emotionally scarring, and they maybe don't want to experience that again. So they confuse the fear into a signal that you need to protect yourself and stay away from this. But I mean, here's the other side of it. If you're afraid and it keeps you from doing something, and if it was correct, I guess this is the test. Say I'm walking down that dark alley. I see a shadow in the corner. I decide to run. Someone starts chasing me, but I escape. I'm going to feel pretty good because I escaped.
Yeah.
The fear protected me. However, if I decide not to give that speech or something, and because I'm afraid, but then I see the person who did it and I realize, why, I could have done a better job than that. I'm not going to feel very happy in the end. I suppose if your fear is still keeping you unhappy, then that's a sign that maybe you're confusing things a bit. Maybe you're confusing true danger from high risk, high reward, I guess, if that makes any sense. I wish I had the scientific terms for all this. This is all very psychological.
It is.
I guess. But I don't know. What motivates you though?
Me?
I mean, yeah, seriously.
My motivation is just to help people. Like that's all I really like to do. I mean,
Yeah, you're a very friendly guy.
I try to be.
You even try to help me, so I've noticed that. So
I love it. Just being able to spread positivity because I personally was in a really toxic place, and I had to overcome it. I dealt with some things that really helped me back, and to this day, here and there, they do hurt me. It is pain that I feel, but it's the kind of pain that I use as fuel to keep me going, to keep on thinking and actually believing that I can help someone, and not feeling like, oh, everybody's just gonna see me as this kid that just talks. But instead of seeing me that way, they think about me as that person that's actually growing and not giving me advice, but growing with me.
Okay.
So that's my motive.
I've never thought of you as someone who just talks. So, no.
A lot of people do, and I think that's fine, because eventually, even if they don't pay attention, the mind processes everything. So when they're dealing with something, I am praying that whatever I say that can help someone comes right into their mind and helps them proceed and helps them uplift themselves.
It's funny you mentioned that, because like that idea, what are other people going to think, is so often what holds other people back in the end.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think that's so immature of people, because
It is.
yes, people are gonna think that you're a failure. People are gonna think that you're silly, but you're not thinking about how many people are thinking, wow, that person's amazing. They're doing a great job. I want to be like them when I grow up. They're an example. Just because people are laughing at you and because you think, oh, I'm not the best, doesn't mean that you aren't. Have the mentality that you are the best, because you will be the best if you continue. And everybody that is putting you down eventually will look up to you, because you're up here while they're down here. No one can ever look down on you if you're striving for your goals with a good purpose. Everybody that puts you down will never be able to do that as long as you keep your heart strong, your mind strong, and your reason for being strong firm, because that's your foundation. That's what I believe. And I hope that everybody that watches this actually takes that into consideration, because people are very, very sensitive. And that's not a good thing, because if you're sensitive, you will be broken down by any comment, anything that happens, any inconvenience, and life is full of damage. It's not no small inconvenience. When you get older and you're paying your mortgage and you can't pay it, that's gonna keep you up at night. If you lose a loved one, it's gonna hurt. So those inconveniences, they're small little pebbles being thrown at you, and you just gotta learn how to manage to withstand that damage, because boulders are gonna be coming after you soon, and sooner than later.
yeah, that's one guarantee in life, is that I won't go into stories, but you know, trouble finds you, if that makes any sense. And if you're not prepared for it, you're in trouble, because that, then again, I don't know. Some things you can never prepare for totally, I guess. But yeah, if the little stuff is holding you back, how are you going to deal with the big stuff in the end? Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So, Mr. Ben,
Yeah.
what would you leave to the people that are having low self-esteem issues, fear issues, and lack of motivation in this society? What would you tell them to get them out of that mentality?
There's better stuff awaiting for you. You just got to go out there and grab it. Is really what it comes down to. No one can get it for you. If you're unhappy, you got to do something about it. You have a responsibility to yourself and your family to be happy. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to reach out there and grab it. You got to go for it. If you haven't experienced that, I promise you, I'm not lying to you. There's something better out there for you. Playing it safe won't get you very far, unfortunately. I mean, don't be stupid, don't be reckless, and realize that it's a process that it's never really ending. It's not like you're suddenly, I'm unhappy, I did one thing and now I'm set for life. That's not how anything works. Going back to the whole video game analogy, it's like there's no one perfect game. You can't just play that one. Yay, I beat it, and now I'm gonna be happy forever. And that's the only game I ever need. You know, it's just no. You got to get a new one, right? You know, but yeah, you've got to go for what you. Even if you don't know what you want, if you're unhappy, you got to start trying some other things. Take some risks. I promise you, things will. There are better things out there that are gonna make you happy. I mean, dude, I knew this guy in college. He had never asked out a girl in his life, and he was miserable. You know, he really wanted that relationship, but he was too afraid to like ask someone out. And as far as I know, he's still single because he never took that leap. I don't know. Maybe someone asked him out. I don't know, but I think that's the best he could hope for. And I don't think that was good. I think if he just had some courage and got past that fear, I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he did in the end.
I hope so.
I hope so too. But I think that's what people have to understand is they got to have courage. They got to try. Don't get too discouraged by failure because everyone fails. Anyone that you look up to, whether it's this guy or someone on TV, making millions, they failed a lot getting there, and they're going to continue to fail too. But again, you got to learn from your mistakes. Try something else. Not let the disappointment hold you back, because there's always something better around the corner. I mean, what's the alternative?
The alternative
Is to die, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're all going somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know. Does that answer the question? Does that make some? I hope it does.
It does, and I really appreciate it. And something that I just want to share with you guys is that when you fail, don't let that bring you down. Be happy, be happy, and be grateful that you failed now, and catch it now, before you catch it later on when you lose bigger things.
Yeah.
So just be positive about anything that goes on. You fail at a game, like a video game, be happy. Restart it, play again, and be the best. You go out and do a concert, you messed the song up big time. Be happy. Be happy. Now go home and practice. Get in that studio so that the next concert is the best one that you got. Because failing is a growth process. Because you can't grow without failing. Because if you're stuck in one spot, you will never get to your destination. Every failure is a baby step. And once you get past all your failures, which you never will, eventually you'll get closer to your goal, to your destination, where you gotta be, where you're meant to be. And I want everybody to know that you guys are meant to be great. You're not meant to live a mediocre life. And it's time for everybody to realize that you're all worth something. No matter what good and bad that you've done in the past, we all deserve something better than what we have now. And we have to just realize that, and realize that we are worth more than we think. And to stop letting other people's opinions, fear, lack of motivation stop us, because we all know where we want to go. And sometimes we know our goals, but we're so afraid to admit them because we think people are going to think I'm crazy. Good. Let them think you're crazy. Let them think you're crazy, because at least you know how to think big. That being said, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this. And Mr. Venable, would you like to tell them anything?
Cheers.
Unconditional love. Talking about the stuff that don't wear off. It don't